Today I'm going to be talking about maturity. And when we meet ourselves, we don't run away from it. We learn and develop the comfort and safety that is inside of us already. That's in all time and all space. As we change, we start to match the new environment to who we are. In other words, we are able to adapt. There's this idea of like, mommy, screaming mommy, and mommy never comes. We believe we're not going to be helped or supported. So a lot of our healing and maturing is learning how to support ourselves. And we become open to receive loyalty, care, and our defensiveness is not manifesting as abandonment or crisis for rescue. Instead, we're learning how to connect with our own inner girl or adolescent or boy, right? And we could stop needing to act out in the deep terror and the hurt of not believing that we're meant to receive nourishing attention or companionship. That part of us knew it didn't feel good. The bad stuff are also natural gifts. This is like pain, fear, anger. So from pain, we go to peace of mind and compassion. From anger, we go to creativity and love. From fear, we go to freedom and strength. And I should point out that the reptilian fight or flight is like this conditioned suppression, this protective limits of expression, and it's waiting or disempowered. It's when we can't let go of the past. So that's kind of thinking there's going to be this right moment where we'll be prepared enough, but when we mature, we start to see we feel secure even when we're vulnerable. And we're like ignoring instead of indulging in the labels, and we're more clear and protected in our intimacy when we know our own energy. We shift to dynamics that serve us. And for me, it's like letting a man make me happy is my heart space is the map that I could share. So it's like, here, do you want to explore a new home? This is my heart. And then we also can guide those around us to see the new version of us. And there's something called secure self-attachment. This is when the inner child needs the inner mother, and and there's a part of us that needs to be needed. So then the inner mother needs the inner child, or the inner father, inner son, right? And this is about giving and receiving. That brings fulfillment. So in order to practice, what I preach. Sorry, I thought about it closer. I'll be reading some of my prompts where I do my own reflections and where I can mature. So the first one I have is where do I pick on others so they don't pick on me? This is a very immature sort of inner child not being helped kind of mentality, but it became part of how I would cope. So I explored it. These are prompts I do one every day, right? Every morning. So I invalidate people as hypocrites and projecting when they criticize me. Sometimes I make Michael the bad guy so I could rationalize my victimhood and avoid seeing my place in it. This surely sounds like immaturity, right? I give a bad attitude when I really need reassurance from someone, so I don't want to give up the power because I don't want to give up the power to them. When I feel like a horrible beast, I look at others with judgment. I see their darkness in coping with my arrogance, which is like false self-esteem, that I'm so past it and have the right to blame them for their pain, forgetting I'm in a state of listening to self-hate and self-unworth, or else I couldn't even look at them like that. And finally, I sometimes store information on others' weaknesses as a way of protecting myself from their perspective so that I'll be more internally prepped for a threat, especially with new people, to my vulnerable self-esteem. Another here is like, in terms of maturity, where do I look for excuses? Like, where does it happen most? So instead of saying there's something wrong with looking for excuses, or, I don't ask myself a question, are you a bully? It's going to be very difficult to write the prompt. So I write, do I pick on others so they don't pick on me? That came from a place of like, defensiveness is where I might lower somebody because I'm feeling low. And I clearly explained how that results in a lack of maturity because I'm not learning how to care for myself or trust myself. So same thing is, where do we look for excuses most? Not saying anything about looking for excuses, but where? So I wrote starting new projects or habits or rituals, or losing my temper, being impatient, repeating the same pattern of pushing and controlling. I wrote making plans, rescheduling, canceling, time management, budgeting priorities, schedule, routine. It's like not knowing myself enough. It's not knowing how long things take me. It's not knowing what stresses me out. It's not knowing what my priorities are. Someone's goodness that they didn't even earn on their own, but I didn't want them to burst my bubble or start again. So it's like I make excuses for seeing someone in a positive way because I don't want to have to see the truth. That's not very mature. Real maturity is being able to see their good and their bad all mixed together. To not give up on someone or leave someone behind or move on, I try really hard to find reasons why I could keep them in my life why there's a silver lining. Another is to exercise or not exercise. I make a lot of excuses why I shouldn't. Oh, I can't handle it, or I should, because I shouldn't even eat till I exercise, right? With sex, love, men, affection, weed, food, all of this is like, is it a forbidden desire, or is it just to feel better, to have a better time? I fear that sometimes when I take the easy way out, the energy will not really be good. So that's another type of immaturity. And I'm going to read, I guess, maybe one or two more of these prompts. The next one is, what triggers my feelings of not enoughness? This is where I'm not I'm not talking kindly to myself, right? So it's talking too long or too short when I try to express something. I feel like I may have not wrapped it up in the right size. It's like talking too much or talking too little. Second guessing how others see me and appraise me. Bracing myself instead of just staying soft. It's resisting the resistance, which causes my overwhelm. It's when it causes this state of tightness where something could get a grip on me. It's men being suspicious of women, or criticism and negative feedback in general. I like constructive criticism or creative criticism. It's fighting with Michael when he doesn't stop. I feel like really not enough. Like my ability to express that it's overwhelming is not coming out. Not being able to control my appetite with some of those things I mentioned before, whether it's like weed or food, or primarily when it's like good food is around. Weed I use as a medicine, but sometimes my appetite for feeling better gets mixed up, especially because I have a history where I was around a lot of people who smoked weed not for medicine. Not being married with kids or employed with a 9 to 5. Reflecting on mistakes I made in the past due to my ignorance. Being ignored when I share my goodness, or not getting everything done in time to relax. I feel like I didn't do enough, or I'm not being appreciated, or I don't get to relax into feeling good or gratitude. Intense physical sensations of pain that need my attention because it's screaming at me. So that could be where I get myself in a position of being really hurt. And finally, I'll read one more prompt, which is about maturity. Which projections of others that I project can I take on? So this is a little hard to read. It's very personal, but this is how I could be maturing in myself. That women are secretly dirty, cruel, spiteful, and doomed. That thinks seriousness is too much and intensity is not cool. Needing me to be happy and fun, to not be a burden or an interruption. Low self-worth and codependency, weakness in relationship. Unmanaged anxiety to be addressed and released. Hating or disrespecting, rebellious, or not conforming individuals who are different by choice or by nature. Like I put these views on others when they live in me. That's what I'm trying to say. Maturity is like fulfillment hits the spot when I accept all aspects. So this generous, altruistic, honest, kind, warm, patient, caring person I'm looking for is me. I have to be more of that. Desiring to spiritually mature into peace and abundance. So I think everybody's out there trying to get more mature, but I am. Look at me. Look at this topic, right? So to be mature is to worry about my own maturity. Looking for vulnerabilities to hold over other people. I mentioned that before. So I project that others want to do that to me and to others. Just wanting the sound of his or her own voice. Sometimes that's me, but I think it's others. Not committed or caring about the well-being of the other person because of survival mode, which is self-absorption, right? So sometimes it's like I'm being so immature that I'm in survival mode, but I'm thinking the other person's in survival mode because they don't care about me. Loneliness, nowhere to go, waiting for someone. I make up someone's going through that. Usually it's because I am not looking at when I'm going through that, how to take better care of myself. And finally, using sexuality or charm to overpower others is also not mature, because it's kind of like I'm not able to enjoy sexual or charm like connection because it's like for power. So it's corrupted in some ways. So that's not mature, because adult play, right? Sexuality is adult play. We have to be able to lower our guard, stop projecting in order to receive. So I hope you enjoy this, and I look forward to tomorrow talking about some similar topics. And thank you for spending time with me. Be well.